Live. All
Perfect.
right. Three, two, one. Hey everyone, welcome back to Eagle 3D Streaming Real Time Talk. I am Quentin Anderson, your host for the next half hour, as we explore some really cool topics about the very beginning projects of pixel streaming with my friend Aaron Kosarek. And just to give a little bit of background of Aaron, for the last 4 years, Aaron has taken on co-ownership of the company known as Digitally Enhanced Image, which has been in business for 25 years. Digitally Enhanced Image provides interactives and interactive content for hundreds of events and trade shows across the world. And Aaron, as co owner now, is hoping to make interactives better and more enjoyable, both in person events, on show floors, and on the web and 3D virtual spaces. And on top of all of that, Aaron is a pixel streaming pioneer. He was making metaverses before metaverses were called metaverses, and he did it for Lockheed Martin. So I am extremely excited to share a little bit about Aaron's background, learn more about some of the projects he's involved in, especially when it's related to pixel streaming, and how he developed a complex project on a very tight timeline for one of his clients. So, Aaron, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Quentin. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So, Aaron,
Yeah.
before we kind of get into it, I'd just like to share with the audience for the first time, people who are here, how the format works. So, Aaron and I will just be having a friendly conversation related to pixel streaming and some of the projects Aaron's been working on. And then, please feel free to post questions during this show if you would like Aaron to answer something directly, because yes, this is live, and yes, we love to answer your questions. So without further ado, Aaron, um, are you ready to have a little chat and conversation?
Yeah, let's get this thing going.
Let's do it. Okay, so first question, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes. Yeah, my background's a little bit convoluted through trial and error. More error than I'd like to admit, but I went to college for graphic design, business management, created numerous websites that more often failed than not, but got me more experience with creating user interfaces and designing user experiences and all of that HTML, CSS, that JavaScript nonsense. And then I've been a part of countless projects creating custom interactives, depending on what the customer wants. We've been doing interactives for so long now. I've taken more of like you said in my intro, a more co-ownership role of the company, which has gotten me even more involved with the day-to-day project management, which has been great. I am a gamer, so I like to play games, and this has allowed me to navigate countless user experiences and user interfaces through decades of growth, being from beginning stages of Mac games to now in days these massive beasts of games that we're coming out with and people are getting to play now that are just next level when it comes to navigating a user experience. Um, I worked in the mass media field. Um, I directed news for about 2 years that allowed me to do news productions every day, and it was a very very fun time. But that was 6 7 years ago, so it's been a while since I've done that. But and then lately, I think one of the best things that I can speak to is that I had this successful virtual event campaign for one of the largest defense contractors in the world, being Lockheed Martin, and hopefully we move forward with again bigger and better projects to come.
Yeah. So can you take us back to, and that was that 2020 or 2021?
I believe it was 2020.
Yes. So maybe late 2020, early 2021. But can you take us back
Yes.
to that time and sort of how things led up to you deciding to do an interactive experience using pixel streaming?
Well, obviously, being in the trade show and event industry when COVID hit, it was a big deal across the world. Um, and it kind of pumped the brakes on a lot of, public social trade shows, events, meeting in public. And so we had to pivot, figure out a way to offer the same information, the same content to the user without having to be there. And of course, that allows us to, come up with a cool way, a cool new fun way to get the user involved in learning the information that they're looking forward to.
Mm.
And so we decided to create a 3D virtual environment. And then at the time, we had to, through trial and error, figure out the best way to deliver that 3D environment, which is how I got involved with you guys at Eagle 3D Streaming. And I think we created something pretty awesome for the time, what we were able to do with the limitations that we had. But pixel streaming was, the concept at the beginning was just so cool to me. Being a gamer and understanding the back end of a lot of these interactive, projects, it was just really cool to think that I didn't have to download anything to be able to run something that is comprehensive and intricate, and being able to, send just information from one place to have something do this on that place, and then I see it here. And it was just really, really a cool answer to the question, what are we going to do now to get our users the information that we wanted to?
And how did you even find the concept or topic of pixel streaming? Were you just like looking over forums, or had you heard of it from, I don't know, maybe a friend or a buddy, or how did you learn about the idea of it?
So we started. We knew we were going to use Unreal. That's one thing that Lockheed Martin already was using to create their 3D models. It was something that I was familiar with just in my free time, messing with Unreal. Such a fun program that I loved getting into. And then it kind of fell into place where there were different ways to export these 3D environments. One was HTML5 export, but again, it didn't allow us to get the user experience we wanted to. And so then came the, how do we do this? And so I spent, countless weeks trying to figure out, what's the best way? What's the best way to give the information to the user in the best, the easiest deliverable way? And through forums and through searching on the web, I found out about pixel streaming. And it was just, again, the best solution that we could find.
And when you're talking about the user experience, how did you go about determining how that worked? Because, and I'm a gamer too, so, typically we're used to AWSD for moving forward, back, left, and right, but not everyone has a gaming background. So what were some of the, how did you decide, or how did you land on the user experience that you decided for this project?
There were a couple factors that came into play, but digitally enhanced image, the company that I co-own, is an interactive provider. So we provide interactives. We don't necessarily work a lot with 3D environments and virtual, environments. And it was just, being an interactive company, we have to think about the user first in almost everything that we decide to publish. It all comes down to how the user enjoys their experience and how they get from point A to point B. Now, with this 3D virtual environment, there were a couple factors, and one was, of course, the target audience that we have, which are professional military officials that are not as familiar with WASD or arrow key movement. And that's just because they haven't been around it. They don't, that's not how they spend their time. And we decided on mouse clicks just because everything can be done with a mouse. Is pretty simple with one button, but that also allowed us to create this interactive virtual environment for a touchscreen TV or touchscreen device, to where all you can do is click and swipe. And so if we limited the user navigational experience to clicks and swipes, then we kind of cover all of our bases at the same time as providing a easily understood user experience.
And is it okay if I maybe bring up the experience and share it with the audience, and we can kind of talk
Yes,
through
of
it
course. Yeah.
a little bit more in
Yeah.
detail? Because there are so many awesome things that you did, and they all seem deceptively simple, but it is a beautiful user interface. So I'll bring it up right now, and then I'll screen share so you can maybe also see what I'm seeing, so we can kind of talk through it at the same time. Can you see the screen now?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Awesome. So maybe let's just start at the beginning. The video. So what's this video about, or why did you have a video?
So at the beginning of these pixel streaming, at the beginning of pixel streaming, we had to buffer. There was the loading time. There was the loading screen that we had to accommodate for. And the video was just a way for us to keep that loading in the background while we kept the user engaged in the interactive that we were running.
So why is there a loading time? How come I can't just click a link and immediately I'm in, like an immersive experience?
I mean, you're asking a question that you would be better answering, Quentin. But for with my knowledge, we're still passing information.
Mm-hmm.
There's still information that has to be passed, no matter the size of the project. We're just not downloading a full gigabyte of an event or an application. We're just buffering the however much data that is to be given. And again, you would have a better understanding of this than I would. I just knew that we had to come up with a fix. We had to figure out how to keep the user engaged, and our video at the beginning was our answer to that.
Yes. And you nailed it. Yes. I mean, we're running a real-time game engine in the cloud, folks. So it takes a while to load that game. And Aaron came up with an awesome idea of playing a video while that's loading. But he didn't just drop people into the experience. The next thing he had was a tutorial screen. And why did you decide to do this?
Again, being an interactive creator, and that first and foremost, navigation is very important to the user. Not knowing how to get somewhere is more frustrating than not being happy with the content you're seeing. At least I feel it can be. And so putting out a simplistic way of navigation and making sure that they are learning that navigation previously, and just keeping it super simple is best, as we have found doing these interactives.
Yeah. And one thing I'd just like to call out and highlight is this navigation is a single click, single tap navigation. Or correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron. So
No, that's correct.
and why I think that's so awesome is because I can navigate an entire immersive experience with just a single left click or a single tap. So the learning curve of learning how to be in one of these 3D experiences is so simplified that, you know, a lot of people, it's more accessible. Or is that, would you agree with that? Or is that kind of your thinking?
I think that it all depends on your target audience. I mean, you can get away with doing some amazingly cool things with a very intricate navigation if you know that your user is going to understand that navigation easily. And I think that's where the difference comes into place.
Hmm.
We were able to get away with successfully a mouse click interaction. However, it does limit you to what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
We just were able to again give the illusion that you got to do more than you probably should have with a one click navigation.
Right. And then another thing that I noticed is consistency in branding. And so, did you? What were your decisions along, making sure this aligns with the Lockheed brand, or did you have any thoughts along those lines of making sure it felt like a Lockheed experience?
That was more, I think, a team collaborative effort with Lockheed and with us at Enhanced Image and everyone who was involved in that project. It kind of came, you know, together quite well with the time frame that we had, which was pretty short on delivering something. But I think one of the main things that really brings it all together is that midway to late in the project, we found that it wasn't very together. It didn't look like it was all supposed to be where it should be and all the same application. And that's kind of where we put this overlay on our HTML file on our overlaying website, which is the header and the footer. And that is not in the Unreal application that's running on the server. That's running on the front end on the user's device and communicating with the Unreal application in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really brought it all together and brought that feel of I am in one more intricate application.
Right, right. And when it's done right, you don't even notice it, and that's what I notice, and I feel when I'm looking at this is when it's done right, it just feels natural, and sometimes, yeah, it's fun to explore and realize that it's a process, and you have to design it and make sure everything aligns. A question just came in, and it was, is there a way to have the game preloaded at a specific time to remove some of the wait time? So the answer is, as of today, yes. Now that is possible. But, I mean, when Aaron and I were working on this project back in the day, there was like a loading time, and we did have to figure out what to do. I mean, I still like, even if we can reduce the wait time, this video, I still like that as an idea, and definitely the tutorial is a must. Or what do you think, Aaron?
I agree. And the the steps that have come in the last year and a half to just add amazingly quick functionality and the loading and creating, yeah, the limitations have become less and less over the last year and a half, which is just phenomenal, especially since pixel streaming is such a new concept. It's getting better and better. But at the time, we did have to worry about a user waiting for a minute and being like, oh, okay, why am I sitting here waiting for this loading bar to go across the screen? It's just like, I mean, I could compare it to dial-up. However, from dial-up to where we are now, that was a little bit longer than what we've gotten from pixel streaming at the beginning to where we are now, and it's kind of amazing. It's just, it snowballs that yeah, it's just pretty great.
That's an awesome analogy. Yeah, it's kind of like dial-up versus cable, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so let's drop into the experience now. So I've gone through my tutorial.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to expect, and now I'm in the environment. And so, can you just kind of walk us through it? You know, it's a circular environment. Why did you do a circular environment? You know, what are we looking at? You know, yeah, just some of your thoughts.
Okay. Well, we decided that it would be best for the environment to be circular so that, again, we could navigate the environment very easily. We can move around with our mouse at this point, just looking around. And we have 3D models at the end of these corridors, what they wanted to showcase at this event. And so you click to go forward, and you get some button options. And then when you click on a button around the 3D object, this is where our information, our content pops up. And one of the best things about this is that all of the content works without a hitch. And that is because none of the content is being given from the application. None of this content is actually in the Unreal application. It's an iframe nested on top of the outerlying website. And that is, I think, one of the best and coolest utilizations of what we did for this project is the communication from the web browser that you, the user, are in, and the Unreal application on the back end. And when you click a button in the Unreal application, the front end browser will take control and show you the information that you need to be shown. And that, I think, brought the size of the application down an extraordinary amount and allowed for the quickness. If the F-35A Lightning II has 7 videos, you don't have to wait for those 7 videos to buffer in the Unreal application. They are already being sent to you through the internet. And I think that when we came up with that with Eagle 3D streaming, that was one of the turning points of the 3D environment that I was like, okay, this is so cool. This is really cool now. Like that, and it was
Yeah. Well, and just to make sure, you know, our audience is clear and I'm clear. So right now, this is totally UE4, right?
Yes.
This experience. Yeah. So this more info button is inside UE4.
Yes.
And then you click on it, and it brings up an iframe. And is this iframe also in UE4?
No, the iframe is outside of UE4 in the browser that you are using.
And the benefits of doing that, what would you say the benefits are of doing it that way?
Well, we got around a lot of limitations that UE4 had when providing media in pixel streaming, a pixel streaming export, and that we ran into a lot of video issues and PDF issues when it was delivering this information through Unreal 4. Sometimes the videos wouldn't load, sometimes it wouldn't, the sound wasn't there, and we couldn't have any of those kind of unsureties that the content wasn't going to be what the content was. And so we decided to, again, bring that out of Unreal, nest it on the overlaying HTML web page, and it just kind of it worked very, very well for this project.
And as part of that, just because, you know, we're working with Lockheed Martin, so it's got to work. We need to find a solution that's guaranteed to work. And, you know, when we're trying to play videos through Unreal, it is not as consistent as when you're playing it in an iframe.
Yes, but I wouldn't go as far to say it was just because it was Lockheed Martin. I think any company needs to have this kind of consistency with their interactive content, be it whatever it is. Needs to show up the same way for everybody and every time that you click it.
Hmm. And did you already have all this content in like a media manager or some sort of like backend database?
Yes, absolutely. That is one of the main focuses of digitally enhanced images, that we have a web application called the EMM, which is the Event Media Manager. And we house, again, all of this media and this information to then create interactives with. And so it is a database that we manage within our own web application.
So, and
It, Go
yes,
ahead.
so
Go
that
ahead.
allows you to basically connect with an existing database and send content into an experience that you built. And just for like
Yes.
to understand what that means from a timeline perspective, how fast were you able to put this project together?
I think we did this project in 3 months.
Hmm.
I think two months maybe.
Hmm.
It was probably around 10 weeks that we put this project together. A lot of sleepless nights for this guy.
Yes, I remember those sleepless
Yes,
nights.
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
but that's really fast for this project. And you had 9 worlds, or you had 9 different showrooms, each one that had to be,
Yes,
or nine ish.
yes, and that I think we did have nine, but that was also again the circular environment and the way that the entire collaboration worked. It just cascaded to each environment very well. Once we had the design and the user experience and navigation for one, we were able to extrapolate that one to nine quite easily.
Mm. Mm. Yes, yes, and I remember the process working with you. You started with one, got it dialed in, and then scaled it out. We did have a follow up
Yes.
question, which is about the preloading. Is that done automatically or something we need to configure? So we did end up, working and developing something that loaded your applications faster. But you ended up with, I think it was, roughly 9 virtual experiences. I have seen some people start these days of having sort of a shell of an app, and then it downloading data into a single app on runtime. Um, so there are some, potentially interesting advancements happening. Um,
Oh yeah.
awesome. So yeah, so that project was, I think a really great example of what's possible with pixel streaming, and this was done, back in the early days. We're already sort of running up towards the end of the half hour. Any other ideas, thoughts? What's the future like? What's your crystal ball saying?
I don't know. I don't know. The event media manager, the web application that we manage and run, is getting better all the time.
Mhm.
We have you guys to thank for that. Your help in making that program better, and I'm hoping to again figure out new ways of using pixel streaming to uh, to create again better experiences virtually and not virtually, just different Unreal applications using pixel streaming. I feel the possibilities are endless. Just delivering an interactive of more elaborate content is in the very near future.
Anything you can tease us with, or ideas of what that may be? I gotta ask, right?
um, yeah. Well, we've discussed, and I don't know, I'm not giving anything away by saying this, but you and I have discussed doing pixel streaming on a local level instead of on a wide scale on the internet, but more of a local server to multiple device at a trade show or on a show floor could have some great possibilities, being able to push a big application created an Unreal, allowing for, really cool content to be displayed, but then using it in multiple monitors at the same time, getting the concurrent interaction of the same application. I think, yeah. But again, you mentioned the metaverse, and so there could be some things that come in that play there that I am just not too familiar with at this point. But I'm really excited. Whatever we end up doing next with pixel streaming, it's gonna be really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, and I can't wait for your next innovative project.
Yeah.
And that is the half hour, folks. It comes across quick. Aaron, thank you so much for your time with us today and sharing about the project. That is a very innovative and creative project, so thank you very much. Tune in next week. This is Eagle 3D Streaming Real Time Talk, and thank you everyone for your time today. We will see you on the next show.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks,
Aaron.
Quentin.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Bye.